help but notice something. There's a trend in the NBA that's troubling, confusing. The New York Knicks have won 2 straight basketball games. They beat the Spurs on Sunday night.
Man. That's wrong,
They got shouted at the Oscars. And now, in front of the MSG faithful, they're on a win streak. They beat the Magic. Now, the obvious question is, like, is this good or bad for the Knicks? I never think it's bad for teams to win basketball games, especially when you have a young team like this. Like, if you look at these highlights, these are all first-year, second-year players. You want to win basketball games. And the way that they've restructured the lottery is the 3 worst teams have the same chances of getting the #1 pick. Jalen, is it actually good that the Knicks are winning? I know it's a silly question, but it makes sense.
It's relevant. I think it's positive, not necessarily good. Here's why. You basically just acknowledge that teams are basically going to have the same odds.
Yes, the
3 worst teams are going to have the same odds.
It's not that much of a drop-off at number 4.
So therefore, you know, you're still in the same vicinity to get the same opportunity for the #1 pick.
For the first 3 teams, and then the 4th worst team is like 11.
But here's something I want to make sure I double down on.
Ooh, what's that, Mr. Rose?
Knicks will be in the playoffs next year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Knicks will be in the playoffs next year.
I love this.
Let me put that on wax.
Preach to a Die Easy Knicks fan.
Here's the other thing I want to say. As one of the people in the media that came on our show after the trade for Porzingis, I know Porzingis is a terrific talent. And I'm going to give you a stat right now. He's going to be one of 3 people next year that averages 20 points and get 2 blocks per game. Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, it's going to be a couple of those guys.
Yep.
Dennis Smith Jr. can ball.
Oh, he can.
Now the Knicks have a guard. They drafted Knox. He can ball. Now they have a wing. Roll the dice on Mitchell Robinson. Didn't even play college last year.
Played pretty well.
Now he's playing quality minutes for them. And a lot of people don't know, one of the reasons why people overlooked him, besides the fact he didn't play college, had an early teenage mom. Had her and or his brother when his mom was like 13 and 14 years old. Okay? And lastly, turned Trier into a player.
I love Trier.
Who was undrafted.
I love Trier.
And they have a coach who can develop young talent.
And they're getting Zion and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
And they have 2 max spots. And they have their lottery pick. The New York Knickerbockers are trending upwards. Listen to David Jacoby. He tried to tell you early in the program.
And again, when the KP trade happened, New York Knickerbockers fans were just up in arms, so upset about it. And I honestly think, and I said this to my Knick fan friends, I was like, this will probably be one of the best days in the history of the franchise. You will look back on this and say, thank God we traded KP.
And what did you advise fans in the New York metropolitan area to do?
Buy season tickets right now, because the prices are going to go way up on July 4th. They're going to go way up on July 4th. So the Knicks are looking to get a lottery spot, and will one of the players wearing the Duke jersey now be wearing a Knicks jersey next year? That same Duke team that lost Zion on national television hasn't been playing great lately without him. They went into Virginia Tech and found themselves against a very game opponent. R.J. Barrett and the Duke team lost this very close game against the Hokies. Jalen, there's a lot going on here, but do you still consider Duke to be your favorite to win the national championship?
Duke deserves to be the favorite to win the national championship because they have the best player in the country in Zion Williamson and arguably the second best player in R.J. Barrett. They're going to be in a conversation when it's all said and done. However, if I'm an NBA team, I'm going to float a theory. I've seen a lot of NBA drafts. And there's always a level of tension and expectation that goes with the #1 pick.
Of course.
That doesn't necessarily go with number 2, 3, and 4.
Of course.
And if I'm choosing this year, as much as people keep saying they want the #1 pick and stop trying for Zion, if I'm in play this year, like the Knicks or the Suns or whoever else, guess what I don't want? The #1 pick.
Explain why, Mr. Rose.
Because I want to make sure I take R.J. Barrett. But I can't take him first because of the hype.
Here's the thing. R.J. Barrett, safer pick. He's a safer pick. He's basically an NBA player. He's a wing. He can play D. He can shoot. He can drive. He can pass. He can do all those things. Zion is unlike anyone else we've ever seen, which isn't always a good thing. Like, it's safer to have RJ Barrett. I think that it makes absolutely no sense to want the number 2 pick over the number 1 pick. But I agree with you, Jalen Rose. I do. It's a safer pick.
How about this? Because now, if and when you're drafting 1, Zion deserves the opportunity to go number 1 because the sky's the limit for his potential. But if I'm a general manager, I like to maneuver the chessboard at my speed. So therefore, take RJ Barrett. I take John Morant. And I allow those young players to nurture, and people will appreciate what they become. Versus Zion, from day one, people are going to expect him to come in and be Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan type of performer. And I don't think at the beginning he's going to be able to live up to that level of expectation.
So here, I want to get inside your mind on this one for a second. If you have the number 1 pick, and in your heart of hearts, you feel that RJ Barrett is a better pick than Zion Williamson, just higher floor, same ceiling, right? Would you allow the hype? And would you allow the anticipation? Would you allow your fan base to force you to pick Zion?
I'll talk to my owner, and I'll go to Tom Gores, for example, or the Detroit Pistons, and I'll say, TG, I would love to take Zion. Our fans at Little Caesars Arena would go crazy for those 360 dunks. The sky's the limit for him. But if you let me trade him, I'll get another player, and I'll get RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
So I'll get you 2 players instead of 1.
I love this idea.
And by the way, RJ Barrett, rookie of the year next year. Rookie of the year.
Really? Depends on where you go. A lot of it depends on fit. Depends on opportunity. Depends on where he ends up. Jalen, it's Wednesday, and we celebrate Woman Crush Wednesday. It's just a little time that we take just to celebrate the more intelligent, kinder, more responsible,
harder working,
and generally
more
superior
disciplined
gender of our species by taking female voicemails. And today, we have a very special female caller. Our sister, Michelle Beadle, left us a voicemail. Let's listen.
Hey guys, Michelle Denise Beadle here, big fans of your work. I've got a question. It's a little more like advice. I have 2 friends, both dating different guys. One guy, turns out, has a live, laugh, love poster in his bathroom. The other only answers texts with LOL and smiling emojis. And I can't decide which one's worst. The worst one gets the prize. So I need a little advice. What should I tell my friends other than run? Also, I just want you to notice I did this entire message and I didn't cuss once. You're welcome.
Love Michelle Beadle
Beads
so much.
is the
Big
best.
shout out to Beadle. I miss you, Beads. Being on the East Coast is great.
I'll be there
Being
Friday.
without you is terrible. Now, that being said, she has one friend dating a gentleman has a live, love, laugh poster in his bathroom. And another one who only responds to texts with emojis and LOL. Both terrible personality traits. I have to say, it is worse to have the live, laugh, love poster. That's bad. Like, that is cheesy. It's sappy. It's tacky. It's like it's like you shop at Rick's. Like, no. Spencer Gifts? No.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
Because you're the person that says people don't celebrate enough. They don't enjoy life enough. All it says is live, laugh, and love. That's all it says.
You know what that translates to me?
That's all it says.
Corny. That's corny.
How about this?
You know it's corny. If I went to your house and saw a live, love, laugh poster, I would leave and I would call my boss and I would say, I'm no longer doing the show with this man.
No. You know what's corny? Let me tell you what's corny. Let me tell you what's corny. Okay?
That was the most dramatic.
Let me tell you what's corny. A boss move right now. Let me tell you what's corny.
Okay. Put your clothes back on.
Emojis.
Okay, Jalen, have you ever seen me text an emoji? Ever, ever, ever. We text a lot. If I ever text you an emoji, ever.
The only emoji I ever use is 100.
You use the 100 emoji all the time.
It's because the 100 just looks like I'm old-fashioned and I should be carrying a beeper. The only people I ever used emojis with are my wife and my kids. Nobody else walking this earth can say I sent them anything except 100.
Let me take you behind the curtain on Jalen Rose and just sort of how he communicates. You asked Jalen Rose a very pointed question. Jalen, are you going to be on time tomorrow? He writes back 100. Be like, Jalen, do you want to have a dinner meeting or a lunch meeting? 100. Like, we ask you questions and you just write back 100 like that's an answer.
You know why? It's a boss move.
You're the best. You're the best. Are those paw prints? What's underneath the panther?
That's a Black Panther and paw print.
Paw prints? How
grass.
many feet does that thing have?
It's grass.
It's in the grass?
Yeah. That's when I decided I wanted to be a leader, not a follower. And you know how panthers move. When somebody attacks them, right? They step back and they assess. And then they go for the kill.
That's not true. That's not true. It's not true.